Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to CGL Sefton's podcast. Today we have our very fabulous Paddy Smith. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
Living the dream?
Living the dream.
As always. So, today's podcast, we are going to be celebrating National Volunteers Week. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Amazing. How are you doing today?
Positive and happy today.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good day.
Is that because it's Friday and the weekend's coming up?
It's Friday. I'm going to see Coldplay tomorrow.
Amazing. Where are they on at?
The Etihad in Manchester.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good weekend.
Good. Fabulous. And the weather's nice.
And the weather's brilliant.
So, what did you do over the bank holiday weekend then? Can you say?
Yeah. Bank holiday weekend was, so unfortunately I had 2 bereavements and we had 2 funerals last week, so the bank holiday weekend was sort of quiet reflection time with the family.
Okay.
But it was still nice, yeah.
And is everyone alright? Are you alright?
Everyone's okay and everyone's, yeah, they're all good. All good.
Good stuff. Okay, so shall we jump right into the questions that I've prepared for this little podcast? So obviously, only share what you want to share. I say this to everyone who I'm going to be interviewing. I'll always say bits about my life, but other bits I want to keep private. So
okay.
Obviously, it's the same for you as well. So how long have you worked in addiction services for?
Okay, so I started volunteering around about 2007.
Okay.
But it wasn't fully committed. I was sort of dipping my toe in here and there.
Okay.
And then around about 2009, I sort of fully committed to it. I was doing outreach work up in St Helens and Widnes with the street thinkers with an organisation called Arch.
Okay. Are they still going?
I don't think so, no. To be honest, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then I started volunteering in Sefton, and I was sort of quite involved with all of the service user forums, like the Hep C forums and the linking in and going to conferences around shared care and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then I became the link worker for adult social care, which was the substance misuse team.
Okay.
And they're the people who assess you for detox and rehab. So my role was when someone was referred in, they had a conversation with myself about rehab. We done a bit of preparation work. They had their assessment with the social care team, and then they come back to me, and I asked was all of their questions answered. And if they wasn't, I went back up, spoke with the social care team, and said like, there's unanswered questions and things need to be explained a little bit more.
I see.
And the idea was to get people prepared, organising a day for them to go and have a look around the rehab and that kind of stuff to make sure that this feels right for me.
I'm with you. So would you take them into rehab or the detox centre, show them round, or would you
No. Sometimes I would, if they had no family, nothing to go with them. So we'd organise train travel, wherever the rehab was. Because back then, the majority of rehabs done their own detoxes.
Right.
So you didn't have to, the way it is now, you have to go in the Hope Centre and enter the rehab.
Okay.
So the majority of rehabs then, they had a doctor that come on site and they done your reduction plans and all that with you.
Wow.
But back then it wasn't alcohol, it was just all substance misuse.
So wasn't the alcohol detoxes back then?
Yeah, so there was the Kevin White unit.
Ah, right, okay.
And treatment for alcohol misuse at that time was really, it was sparse. So you'd see like a Samaritans nurse every 2 weeks in like one of the local health centres.
Really?
You'd do a reduction plan. Whereas people who had substance misuse problems like heroin issues or that kind of stuff were coming into the treatment centre.
So do you think at that time then, and obviously working in the field now, it's a completely different sort of mindset, isn't it? So do you think then that people with alcohol issues back then were not supported as well as they are now? Or was it just different? Was it hard to say?
No, it's not hard to say. It's you have to be sort of careful of what you say because obviously, you know, politics and all that kind of stuff. But no, you're right. I don't feel personally that they were supported the way somebody who had like an opiate dependency was.
Okay.
Because like with an opiate dependency, you were coming in, you were seeing a key worker, you were on the script, you had a care plan. As far as I was aware, back then, it was like you went and seen a Samaritans nurse for alcohol misuse, you were given a drinks diary.
Right.
And if you needed a detox, then that would be discussed with the nurse, or you'd go into the Kevin White unit. But back then, to get into the Kevin White unit, it was like you'd have to phone up every day.
Really?
And you got a tick, and it could take up to anywhere between, say, 3 to 6 months.
Really?
Really. And if you missed a phone call, if you missed a day, you went to the bottom of the list. So when Adult Social Care set up their SPOA, which is the substance misuse team,
yeah,
the theory was that people would be referred to them, and within 7 days to 2 weeks you would be assessed by a rehab and have a date to go into detox.
Wow.
Or go into a rehab.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Okay.
It worked really, really well. Compared to now with alcohol, I personally, again, think, and this is where I need to sort of choose my words carefully.
We can edit it if we need to.
I think, me personally, that like, we have alcohol clients that come in and they get supported really well within the community. But when they're going into rehab,
yeah,
I don't feel that the rehab staff are upskilled enough, and this is just my assessment.
Yeah.
Because of the complexities that come with alcohol misuse and people who've had a history of dependency with alcohol.
Okay.
That they're competent in dealing with it, because my experience of working with the alcohol team is a lot of people were getting knocked back because rehab said, we can't manage this person.
Really?
And I just felt that, it was, but things are getting better.
Good.
Things are getting better.
That's really good, and I agree.
Sorry, I went on to a waffle there.
No, I love it. I think it's really interesting. So we were Ambition then, weren't we? So did you work at like Lifeline before Ambition, is that what?
So when I was the link worker then, I got headhunted.
Lucky, yeah.
There's an organisation called Trust the Process.
Oh yeah.
TTP.
Yeah.
And they were a 12-step programme, rehab day centres.
Yeah.
And in 2009, the drug agenda and the drug strategy become recovery focused rather than harm reduction. It become more recovery focused.
Okay.
And TTP set up a structured day programme in Sefton.
Okay.
And the guy who was managing it, a guy called Andy Tutt, I met him. He come to do a presentation at a service user forum, and we met. And then my boss at the time, he contacted my boss and said, do you think Paddy would be interested in coming to work here?
Yeah.
And the idea was that it wasn't 12-step, it was holistic.
Love that.
So people could do 12-step recovery.
Absolutely.
And people could do their own recovery, whether it be therapeutic, whether it be spiritual, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whether they were stable on medication or whether they were occasionally using. So we ran what we call structured abstinent-based group work.
Okay.
And people who were sort of in the moment in the day, that were stable on where they wanted to get to and how they wanted to get to abstinence.
Okay.
And the people who were in abstinence, what they wanted to do with their life moving forward.
Wow.
And then Lifeline took over in 2011.
Okay.
And then that's when it became from a drug action team to a drug and alcohol.
So it was then?
So that was when alcohol clients started coming into treatment centres rather than seeing a nurse every 2 weeks in the community.
Okay, I see.
And then it went to Ambition Sefton, and then where we are now.
Fabulous. So before the role that you're doing now, which we'll come on to, you worked on the criminal justice team. Was that
yes,
right?
plus a variety of other roles, yeah.
Yeah.
But prior to this role, criminal justice.
Okay. And how was that?
It was challenging at times.
Yeah.
Because of some of the clients that you're working with.
Was it intimidating ever?
Yeah, I've been threatened a few times, but I've been threatened a couple of times just because of regardless of whatever team you're on, you can always come across sort of clients that have the same kind of issues that with anybody that's in criminal justice.
I agree, yeah.
And what I've found over the years of doing this, that the majority of the time they're not angry at you.
Yeah.
They're just angry at the situation.
Or life.
Their day. You know, today is fucking shit.
Yeah.
And I need to be shouting at somebody. Or I haven't been in the chemist for 3 days and my script's being stopped and it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Once people begin to vent and they've vented, they then calm down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was intimidating. I've come across some... I used to sort of have like quite a lot of high-risk offenders on my caseload.
Okay.
So like MAPA and with the IOM team. So prolific offenders, sort of like MAPAs, which is the multi-agency public protection arrangements.
Okay.
So yeah.
So was it difficult at times then to, because we've all got our own values and our own morals then, haven't we? Mm-hmm. To work with someone, because I know in my day-to-day job sometimes people will come through the door and they're only human like the rest of us obviously, but a crime that they've committed doesn't sit well with your values or your morals, and sometimes initially in the beginning I would struggle and think, how am I going to work with this person and give a service when they've done something that's so heinous or whichever.
Yeah.
Did you come across that situation? Did you get hardened to it? Did it still affect you?
If I'm being honest, so I've worked with sex offenders before.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I use like sort of detachment and separation techniques.
Yeah.
So I have to be professional. That person's coming in because they've got a requirement, because they're on order or they're on license.
Yeah.
Or they've got a prescription that they need to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're working on a treatment plan for their addiction.
Yeah.
Not for their offence.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course, it's in your mind, do you know what I mean? Of course. And sometimes when you're doing assessments with people and they begin to talk about their offence, but you just have to, I think over the years I've done this job, you just have to sort of desensitise yourself to it in a sense.
Yeah, I agree.
So many years ago, me and two other guys, I won't mention the name, the two professionals I used to work with, we developed a programme that was based on emotional intelligence.
Okay. And
we got asked to deliver it in an approved accommodation hostel for sex offenders.
Wow.
And probation approached us and said, would you deliver it? It was like a 6-week programme.
Okay.
Where we went in and it was based around sort of managing your emotions and dealing with day-to-day situations and being responsible and accountable and all that kind of stuff. It had a variety of stuff in this programme. And we got asked to deliver it to like, you know, this hostel that like housed sort of sex offenders.
Wow.
But it wasn't about the fact that they were sex offenders, it was about going in and trying to deliver something that may have had some sort of type of impact.
Yeah, I see.
Somebody beginning, it wasn't going to stop them with their offending behaviour.
No.
But the idea was from probation that it may give them a little bit of insight into sort of their own accountability around how they manage their emotions and how their emotions affect their actions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So
you've done it all. I love it. I absolutely love it. So tell me about your role now then, what do you do at the minute at CGL?
Okay, so now we've got quite a unique programme for volunteers. If you can imagine applying for a job within in a treatment centre like this, where you go online, you see the role,
yeah.
You would look at the job spec, and you think, okay, yeah, I want to go for that. It's the same for volunteers.
Yeah.
obviously with volunteers, the skills and knowledge part of it, you know, it is important, but it's not 100% guaranteed for you to get the role as if it was a professional role. Okay. Because volunteers come from all different walks of life. Mm-hmm. They may not have had any experience of treatment centres like this.
Yeah.
So people will go online, they'll see the role, we'll get in contact with them, and for example, if it was a volunteer recovery worker with the criminal justice team,
yeah,
we have a value-based conversation first.
Okay.
And the idea behind that is we give them a bit of insight into the role, mm-hmm. because what you're reading on paper is a bit different from what you're hearing. And some people go like, oh, didn't realise it'd be that.
Yeah.
But that being said, we would then turn around and say, okay, so there's other roles.
Yeah.
So why not come and, you know, apply for the duty volunteer, like a duty worker, get a feel for the place, and then in 6 months' time, if you do want to sort of improve, we can look at like other roles and other opportunities. So people go online, they apply, they get shortlisted as you would for a job interview. You come in, we have a value-based recruitment conversation, and then we make a decision then.
Okay.
Of course, when people want to volunteer, you think, of course we'll let you volunteer enough of your time.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. The reasons why this is so unique, it's not about coming in and doing photocopying. We want people to come in and develop.
Absolutely. And
we want to be able to give to somebody as much as what they're giving to us. So when someone gives you their time, it's a precious thing.
Yeah.
And if we can give them something back that will help them develop.
Yeah.
Whether it be a student and it helps with their studies, it helps with their career development, whether it be somebody who's got lived experience and they want to give back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not about the reasons why we interview. It's because it's not about just giving everybody who wants to be a volunteer hours.
Yeah.
It's about, why do you want to do this? What are your values about? You know, do your values meet ours as an organisation? Mm-hmm. And this is what we want to give you back, and we've just got to be a plan, because people have got to get something from it.
Absolutely.
Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think because you've come from you started as a volunteer in 2009, mm-hmm. You've done it all from right the way from doing that to the role that you're doing now. It's amazing.
Yeah, so, and that's the idea behind it. You know, if I didn't have people who give me their time and their expertise and their knowledge and their insight for me to work alongside them people, and I didn't have that development plan, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Absolutely.
The passion and the value and everything else is there.
Yeah.
But to work within this environment, you've got to have something about you, I think.
100%.
And it's not all about passion and wanting to help people. You've got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Because you can really harm someone, can't you?
100%, yeah.
You know, if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And I speak about this when I teach, so I train the volunteers.
Yeah.
And like you just said, like our service users that come through the door, they will take what you say literally.
Yeah.
And make the volunteers aware that like you're there as not as a key worker. You're not at that stage yet. Mm-hmm. And be very mindful of what you're saying. And the reason to say that is because I was working in Southport one week, and I didn't really know much about alcohol addiction at that time.
Okay.
I knew about it, but I didn't know the consequences when someone just stopped drinking as much as like I do now.
Of course, yeah.
And I was talking to the client, and he told me that he had drank like a couple of, he hadn't had a drink, he'd been drinking and coming off, and he was dependent, and he hadn't had a drink for about 2 days, but he felt like crap.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you just stop?
Okay.
And then the next day I got a phone call from his key worker saying, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't had a drink, he's come in, he's withdrawn, you know, and I didn't realise.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say was that, like, sort of, like, just stop, as in the sense of, like, you know, like, work towards that.
Absolutely.
And get to that, and once you stop and, you know, maintain it. But he sort of literally, just stop. Okay, well, a drug worker just told me that I could just stop. So we've got to be very mindful. So you're right, it can be dangerous, it can be risky, people can. So you need to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And that's the idea with the volunteers. It's not about coming in and making someone a cup of tea, and as much as that is important,
yeah,
we've got to put a development plan in place. We want to upskill people.
Absolutely.
And
because they are the next generation of workers, aren't they?
We're not going to be here forever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the next generation of workforce.
I love that. So what's your favourite thing about working in addictions?
The people.
The people. What's your least favourite thing? Don't say me.
The people.
The people. You, Mark.
No, the most favourite thing is it's never Groundhog Day.
100%. Every day is a surprise, right?
Every day is a school day.
Yeah.
And obviously the people are a big part of that. But for me, and this may sound sort of really, like a platitude, but it's not about the, as much as I love the people that I work with, it's more about the people that come through the door.
Absolutely.
And that's why we do this job.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't care about the people that come through the door, we wouldn't do this job.
Absolutely.
And if you were like that, the rest of the team would out you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
You would be found out.
Yeah.
My least favourite thing is sometimes the politics of the place. In a sense of, where there's somebody, you can't do this thing, you can't be, it's not about risk averse, but sometimes we have to take chances.
Yes.
And sometimes we have to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And I've worked with clients where they've been at the end of a script and the fear is there.
Mm-hmm.
And you support them to take that leap of faith.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes treatment services, we need to do the same.
Yeah.
And I think CGL coming back into Sefton is that leap of faith for us. I think they will encourage us to be like that.
I agree. It's a new breath of fresh air, isn't it, coming through?
100%, yeah. 100%.
If you think back to when I first started, I've only been in this area now for 15, 16 months, maybe, something like that, isn't it? And the service just before to what we have now is completely different. No shade thrown, anything like that from me. I enjoyed both. But the breath of fresh air that I feel now is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I think for me, when I took this role, it was a blank canvas. So it was like I mentioned before, TTP that I worked for.
Yeah.
So when we started with that, there was me, one other key worker, one client and a derelict building.
Wow.
And within 6 months, obviously TTP paid, we refurbished the building, word of mouth, and that one person developed into like we had a regular intake of between 15 to 20 people a day coming in for group work. We were right by the beach, so we used to do group work on the beach and all that. On days like this, so I used to take them down to like Hall Road, and you still get a few of the steps that like sort of lead down to the beach there.
Yeah, yeah.
And round about 11 o'clock the tide would be coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we left the building and we walked to Hall Road, the tide would be coming in, so we'd all just sit around it informally.
Why didn't you suggest us doing this on the beach today? I'm furious with you.
But now we've got a minibus, we can do that.
Right, come on, let's pack this up, let's go.
So yeah, and I think that was a blank canvas, TTP, and this is a blank canvas now.
Yeah.
And I think we've got scope of developing something that can be really, really good and long lasting.
On a side note to that, it's really refreshing having you around for support.
Thank you.
It's the truth, because obviously I know that before this role now, you're on the criminal justice team and then the alcohol team. You've done so many things that I didn't even realise that you'd done. And it's so refreshing, because anytime myself or any of my colleagues in my team have something to ask or we don't know the answer to, you're the first person there all the time. So
well, that's nice to know.
And it's the truth, 100%. Smashing it. So what advice would you give someone then if they were thinking about becoming a volunteer?
What advice would I give them would be, just go for it. Embrace everything. Listen.
Yeah.
Don't run before you have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listen to the people that you're assigned to.
Yeah.
Take in as much as you possibly can. And when you get asked if you want to do something and your instinct says no, be brave and do it.
Absolutely.
Because the person who's standing next to you is skilled in their job and wouldn't ask you to do it if they thought you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So for me, my advice would be go for it, listen, learn, and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Amazing. And it is a ride, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it can look at you. It's, you know, I when I started, I was a volunteer.
Exactly.
And a lot of people who work in this field now started as volunteers, and with the right sort of training or guidance.
Well, CGL in 1977, I think it was, started out as a voluntary organisation by, it was either 3 or 4 GPs.
Really?
People coming in and out of the surgeries for addiction issues, and they developed what eventually became what is now CGL.
Wow.
So they were a charitable, a voluntary organisation back in the 70s, and it's developed into a charity, but it was aimed towards, like, it was a crime reduction initiative. And now we change, grow, live.
Change, grow, live.
So volunteering is the foundation of this organisation.
Absolutely.
And 90% of the staff throughout this organisation, nationally and regionally, were volunteers. And where some of them, a large portion of them were volunteers with lived experience.
Yeah, yeah.
There is no judgment, there is no barrier that you can't overcome with this organisation, and I think that's quite refreshing.
Absolutely it is.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah.
And I think it's really interesting as well that when you took this role on, it is a blank canvas, and you've literally, it's been your own initiative, your own thoughts, your own ideas, and you know what, a lot of it has worked. There may have been things you've gone, actually, you know what, I've tried that, I won't try it again. It's like trial and error, maybe.
Of course,
I don't know.
100%.
So look what you've achieved really in such a short amount of time. In 12 months' time then, I hate this question in interviews, where do you see yourself in 12 months? But where do you see the role that you're doing? Where do you see your volunteers?
Okay.
How do you see it in 12 months?
So in 12 months' time, so we've currently got 7 volunteers on the 4th week of training.
Okay.
Them 7 volunteers will be established with individual teams. Yeah. And we will also have trained maybe another cohort of volunteers and maybe have another recruitment drive going.
Wow.
I want every staff member in this building to be supervising. My vision is every staff member to be supervising at least 2 volunteers.
Okay.
Not 2 volunteers a day, because I'd never ask a volunteer to come in and do 5 days a week.
Absolutely.
Because they've got a life.
Yeah.
So you have 2 volunteers on throughout the week. Then volunteers will be reducing your workload, as in the sense they will be developing. They will be able to perform the role that you perform.
Yeah.
So in 12 months' time, then 7 that we've got, and maybe the cohort after that, will be established within teams. They will be coming into work as we do every morning. They'll have a job to do that day. They know they're coming in. Do you want to know someone got 3 assessments in today, or I've got 2 prison releases, or Mark's got 4 clients coming in, and he's got 2 doctor's reviews, and I'm going, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in 12 months' time, I want us to have a cohort of volunteers that are established members of staff that come into work to do a job.
I love that.
And like you said, within the short period of time, so since December, I inherited 3 volunteers. 1 volunteer is now a full paid member of staff with the assessment team.
Yeah.
1 of my volunteers is a full paid member of staff with the IPS team.
Yeah.
One of this cohort of members that I'm training now
Yeah.
didn't actually have an interview, we just had the initial conversation, and I put her forward for the peer mentor role with the IPS team. She's now a full paid member of staff.
Phenomenal.
One of the ones who's on his 4-week training, we've just employed as a permitted earnings recovery champion for Southport for 2 days a week, and he'll continue with the other 3 days as a volunteer.
Amazing.
So yeah.
The possibilities are endless, aren't they?
Possibilities are endless. With that, we created links with SGL University. So we're going to be taking on social work students who will come to us, 30-year social work students. They'll come to us with a 70-day block placement, and they'll be carrying a caseload with the family team.
Wow.
We've created links in with the criminology department, with John Moores University. We're going to be delivering training for them, but we're also taking their criminology students that sit with the criminal justice team.
Right.
It's not placement, it's volunteering. So they're not doing placement hours. They come because they want to volunteer, they want to learn.
Yeah,
and then once they graduate, that experience will then take them into their roles as a probation officer or whatever it is that they're going to go into.
Right.
So yeah, you know, it's the possibilities are endless.
That's amazing.
So we've created all of these links with John Moore's, Edge Hill. We have a quid pro quo with the Rotunda College. They give us level 3 petals training and health and social care level 2. And then we go in and we talk with their students and we talk about volunteer opportunities. So we have this continuous.
Love that.
You know, we take volunteers on who maybe retired.
Okay.
Give a bit of time back. People who've been in treatment and have come out the other side. Mm-hmm. Students, anybody. Everybody has something to give.
Absolutely.
And our gift to them, as their gift to us, is that we will give you a day in a treatment centre that's an experience,
yeah.
for want of a better phrase, but we'll also give you development for the gift of your time.
That's amazing. I feel a bit emotional after all this. I might need to go home for the rest of the day. Okay, so just to shake things up for the last couple of questions.
Okay.
What hobbies have you got?
Hobbies at the moment are watching football. I like going out cycling. And my 2 puppies.
2 puppies. Listen, that's my next question, so don't be bringing them on. Okay, what's your favourite food? Italian. Favourite singer or band?
Someone asked me once what would be a perfect role, and I said a rock star.
Okay.
That would be my perfect job.
Really?
Jimmy Page,
yeah.
lead guitarist of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Robert Plant, what a voice. Lead singer of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Mine was Tina Turner, and she's just died.
She's just passed, yeah. How sad was that?
I was going to ask for some compassionate leave, but I thought I might get told no. So you've just mentioned then pets. You've got 2 puppies.
Billy and Minnie.
My dog's called Minnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 little Shih Tzus, brother and sister.
Okay, I'm not being stereotypical here. Okay, you do not look like the man who has 2 fucking Shih Tzus. I expect like 2 Alsatians. I bet they wrap you around their little paws, don't they?
Yeah, so yeah, they're like the boils on my backside, like if you like. They just. I go upstairs and we have to have a baby gate on the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
And they sit, and I just, even if I go to the toilet, they just whine until I come back down.
Really?
Sit on the couch. I have to have one sitting on my lap and one sits between my legs.
My God.
So I can't sit with me, and if I sit on a chair, normally my feet aren't on the couch, they sit on the ground at me for me to put my feet up.
Do they?
Because they need to lie on me.
Oh, I feel the same when I see you. Can you say 5 words that best describes you?
These are difficult ones, these, Andy. I always say you should ask other people about this. Okay, so...
Okay, well, do you want me to give 5 things that I would say about you then?
No, I would say I'm kind.
You are?
I'm I like to have a good laugh, so I'm fun.
You are.
Serious.
Yeah.
Loving and considerate.
I completely agree.
Will that work?
I think that'll work, yeah. The serious side I've not seen, but I've not had to see that yet, so hopefully I
So
don't need
the
to.
reasons why, so not like we've done that thing on social media, didn't we, about the pets?
Yeah,
And Billy, one of my dog,
yeah,
his picture, and Dr. Sally said, when they say that the pets begin to look like the owners, and I went, what do you mean? She went, well, Billy looks quite, I think the way she used at first was evil.
Oh.
And I went, okay. And she went, no, I mean serious. And I went, okay. But I sit in the room with Dr. Sally.
Yeah.
And she said, I always know when you've got something on your mind because you look quite serious.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. Maybe that's something, it's a bit of self-reflection. Maybe I need to change something about myself.
Never change, Paddy. You're fabulous. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Man, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You are a legend.
Thank you.
Speak to you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.